I think the most important thing is to make the children feel at ease and feel safe in the class. And whatever they say, no one's going to make fun of. They can feel they can give their own ideas and not be afraid to speak.
The room has to be bright and well organized. You know, everything is set in a place. They had like the tables, everything set up, the little markers.
I once attended a sales conference, and there was a fabulous welcome for us. We had doors wide open to this great hall, with music going. One of the executives standing there smiling and shaking everybody's hand and greeting everybody as they walked through.
Once I was taking a summer course, and unfortunately it just happened that it wasn't too organized. And the first time we went, we wondered if we were maybe in the right location. There was nobody in the room.
Old furniture in the room, mismatched chairs, that sort of thing. It's just like disorganized and dirty, so you kind of go into a disorganized environment and you kind of don't get a good feeling.
I was a bit disappointed because I opened up the door and inside I found my colleagues, but it was very crowded. There were tables everywhere, looked very disorganized, the whole room, and it was stark white. There was nothing on the walls. It looked very pale and formal and kind of industrial and just not the most conducive to learning. I am such a safety-conscious person personally, and I pride myself on creating a safe environment for the children, because if nowhere else, children should certainly feel safe at their church school. I think it's very important to question the environment every so often, because I think as humans we tend to get a little lazy and not question, our environment enough. And I think it's good to sometimes walk through and certainly get other people's ideas and perspectives on the classroom environment as well. So maybe it's a fellow teacher, maybe it's the superintendent of the church school, maybe it's the children themselves. And I think that really helps to bring enough people in to make sure that the environment is safe, and the more eyes you have, the more you'll be able to ensure that that you're removing any kind of safety issues or concerns.
Once a year, we would have a practice drill with the fire procedures, where we tell the kids, we're going to have this, and then we, all practice, take up the attendance and follow them out to the nearest exit, walk to the furthest part of the church. So we do that once a year. And it's a good practice for the kids, because it's not something that you think about, especially in a church environment, in schools, at work, but church people tend to think everything's safe. So
I think an open door is an excellent idea. I think some children are a little nervous in a class, especially if they don't know the teacher, and I think it's a good idea for everyone to have the door open. Also, some people just don't feel comfortable in a closed room, but I think it's good for ventilation too. But I think the most important thing is just to make everybody feel a little at ease. And in our Sunday school class, the superintendent often comes in, which is great, just to make sure, because the children are young, that everything is going okay and there's no problems. You never know at that age, there could be somebody who wasn't feeling well and needed to be taken home.
Being one of the few male teachers, I always felt it the most important thing for me to do. So even if it was a bit noisy outside, I would still leave the door open.
Yeah, we have teaching partners at our church, and it works really well. Usually we try to be together in the classroom, and a lot of times you'll find certain children feel a little more comfortable with one teacher or might gravitate to another. So it's nice that the children have some choice in terms of who they can speak to and feel comfortable with. And I think it's nice that if you can have more people, more adult supervision as well for the children, that just creates a much safer environment as well.
I remember the kids' names, and you have to be there when they come and welcome them. So, hello Jacqueline, hello Olivia, things like that, and they actually appreciate that when they come in and they hear their names. I also ask them, to tell me a little bit about what they've done, during that week, or if it's somebody's birthday. We have this birthday. I guess it's like a calendar, a poster on the wall, and each one of them for the month they would write their name. So if we know, for instance, in May there's some birthdays coming up, we might ask about their birthdays and see if they did anything special and to share it with the class.
Preparing the classroom, such as putting the agenda points for the day on the board so the kids can read when they get in, they have something to do, they can look ahead and say, oh, today we're going to do this, we're going to learn about this, and then quite often I'll put surprise or question mark on the board, and they always get a kick out of that because they know that I've got something up my sleeve that's kind of fun and different and a little out of the ordinary for them.
I think it means to try to make the room look inviting each week and to change it when you need to, quite often, especially if the lesson's changing, to have new posters up and to add things that the children have made. I think they love coming in and seeing their work up there. It just makes them feel really good.
I think that's the key, is making it feel special, and it is set up for the kids. I think it needs to look very distinctly oriented to the children and their activities, and having special place for them to put their materials or for the craft materials. That space is important to them, and I think having a certain spot and maybe defining it in a certain way with a carpet or with perhaps some drapery or special posters, I think that is more than enough for children to feel that they are in their own little world and have their own spot to learn that's separate from the rest of the activities in the church that day.
I try to make them feel that they can talk about anything they want. Sometimes the children have a concern. This past week, a little girl was very worried about something I just happened to touch on at Sunday school, and she brought out something I said, make sure you tell Mom and Dad about that, honey. But, we talked about it and what we thought she should do to try to stop the problem with another child at school in her classroom, and it really, she said, so I think that helped her a little bit. A welcome bag is a wonderful thing. When a child is new to the class, we give them a special bag at the end of the session, and it has a couple of little treats in for them, and it has some information about our Sunday school class and about the church and fun things to do. Just make them feel at ease and feel welcome.